Randomness, they say, keeps the order of our universe. But the larger question is, do you really love it when your life becomes too random? Maybe not. Though I'm not an expert in the subject matter of randomness, I can tell you a story. A story of a girl who succumbed to the devil called randomness. Her name is Nirbhagya, or the unlucky. She was born somewhere in the mid-1990s. She was a smart little girl and a prodigy artist. She mesmerized the world with her paintings when her counterparts were still out there playing with Lego and Barbie. And one day, she aspired to become a great artist. But just like any other kid, she was super excited to go to school, and at the age of 4, she was a smart little kid running around in a lower kindergarten. Smart she was, that she easily topped her kindergarten class. See, I'm talking about a 4-year-old girl who's academically topping the kindergarten class. That was a great feat for her parents. Little did she know that this was a stepping stone to randomness. From then on, she had nothing else to do in her life rather than hopelessly study, with just one goal: score marks, be the topper so that my parents can be proud. Years went by. You might be wondering what happened to her artistic abilities. See, for a child who's forced to take competitive examination coaching at the age of 10, do you think she would have time for anything else, especially to pursue her personal interest? That was beyond question. So as years went by, the academic pressure mounted, so did her parental expectations. And eventually, what resulted was that she failed to perform in her board examinations. She scored a mere 92% in her 12 board examinations. Such a shame, right? Just 92% in her board examinations. She felt the same, and that pushed her into depression. But on the bright side, there was this very first time that she felt that she should probably be doing something for herself, something she felt was right, something she believed could change her life and solve all her problems. As some of you might have already guessed it, a suicide. But unlucky she was, just like her name, a failed suicide attempt. And what waited after that were umpteen number of psychologist counseling sessions. Her parents, relatives, society, friends, and anyone she knew of was just behind her life, trying to emotionally blackmail her to get her back to what she was. I really pity this girl. Even trying to take her life did not let her grab enough attention or let raise an alarm in the minds of her parents that they should probably be talking to their child and understanding what she wants. Rather, Nirbhagya gave in to her parents' demands, and she agreed to join for an engineering course in a good engineering college, and promised her parents that she would study hard, make up for all the failures that existed then, so that parents can be proud all over again. And so did she. And 4 years later, Nirbhagya is now part of the 93% unemployable engineering graduates in the country. See, just look at her life. She wasted her entire life doing things that probably she did not like. And what remains is just a body with a life. No soul, no skills, no knowledge, no learning, nothing. How many of you can relate to the story of Nirbhagya? Sadly, most of us. Because either this Nirbhagya is you, or this Nirbhagya is someone you know of. This Nirbhagya is all around us. Maybe, what if Nirbhagya was not that smart when she was a kid? Do you think her life would have been different? Probably not. Because that is how a society is. However different we are, whatever random things we do, how crazy we are. The society and the societal funnel ensures that we all end up in the same place doing the same stupid thing. Right? That's how it is. Now, you might also be wondering, what was so random about our life after all? As a matter of fact, there was nothing that's observably random in her life's trajectory. But if you see the deflections from what she aspired to be, what she did, and what she became, you can see at most randomness. But we are a society who are very lucky, right? Whatever goes wrong in our life, we have this blame game. We blame our parents, our grandparents, Charles Darwin for coming up with the theory of evolution, society, government, anyone and everyone that's not us. And when it comes to personal failure, something that has to do with us as an individual, our parents are first and foremost choice for the blame game. Now let's go back and assume, what if Nirbhagya's parents were a little more considerate, understanding? Would that have made a difference in her life? Probably. Probably not. I often talk to a lot of parents as a part of what I do. And there is this parent I talked to recently, and this is what he said. See, Arjun, it's very difficult for me as a parent to guide my child. I come from a different era altogether, so I don't know what's happening in the space. So it's pretty difficult for me to tell him what he's supposed to do in the coming years. So what I did was to go to a career counselor in town. And I took his advice. He did that based on a test, which is an aptitude test for 2 hours. And now I know what my son should be doing for the rest of his life. He told that so proudly, like an achievement. So with a tinge of skepticism, I asked him, have you checked the credibility of this career counselor or the test? I mean, do you have any living examples of people who have actually taken this advice and succeeded in life? He looked at me as if all that was unnecessary and too much just for a career advice. So I continued. I told him, let's assume that your son was sick. He's been facing this mild fever and headache for the past 3 days. You, instead of taking him to a practicing doctor, took him to a first-year medical student. And the medical student tells you that you should do a basic blood test done. And based on that, the medical student prescribes that your son should undergo a brain replacement surgery. Would you do that? Without a second thought, he told me, no way, I can't play with my son's life. Exactly my point. Right? If you can go to a counselor that you're unaware of, do a test that you've never heard of, and then decide what your son should be doing for life, then you can very well listen to a medical student based on a blood test and do a brain surgery. The difference between the two is that in the first case, the result is immediate. You have a dead person. In the second case, it might be far-fetched, but in the end, you have a dead soul or a dead person. So what can parents do in such a fast-changing world? The one thing that they should understand is the fact that a parent is the child's first and only superhero. Use your superpowers wisely. Understand that there's nothing that can replace parenting. Spend some time, at least 5 to 10 minutes of your day, understanding what your child wants, what he's going through, so that you can guide him better. Download this application called Empathy and use it in your life, because that is the only thing that can possibly make a difference in your child's life. But is it just up to our parents to tell us what we should be probably doing in life? No way. It's each and every one of us. We are also responsible for what we become, right? So what if Nirbhagya was a little different? What if she was a visionary? She could probably see what she wanted to do 10 to 15 years down the line and how the space was changing. Would things have been different? Probably. Why? Because she would be able to articulate things better, articulate as to what she wants in life, articulate as to what she should possibly be doing in life. So each and every one of us, we need to understand this very fact that we are living in an era where disruption is killing industry and automation is killing jobs. So the career and employment space that we are in is very dynamic. You should understand the fact that there won't be a concept called career in the future. There won't be anything like that. Even the whole concept of higher education might itself die out. So what would make us stand relevant is a question that you need to ask yourself. So it's high time that we go back home, do an introspection of what we are, those little tiny components called your skills and talents that define you. That is your superpower. Understand that will be your superpower forever. Make the most of it. To sum it up all, or to wrap it in a more philosophical manner, what I have to say to you is that wherever we start, however we start, however our journey goes, our destination is always binary. That is, either we are happy or we are not. And that, my friends, is a choice. And that choice is based on the little decisions you take today. Make the most of it.